Good morning and welcome to our next editorial. I cannot believe we are one away from the end. It's crazy. I remember filming the first one ages ago and now we're near the end. So let's crack on with today's video, and what we're talking about is screen sizes and if they're making a designer's job harder. So before we crack into any of the tea about screen sizes and everything, I just wanted to give a brief announcement. So first of all, sorry about my voice, it's a bit sensitive today, so I may be drinking a lot of water. Second of all, the masterclasses are live. We did our first masterclass last week and it went really well. We had a really great reception to it, and from a couple of days before this video has come out, you would have seen that we've released the entire schedule. So we have a jam-packed schedule for you for these masterclasses. So we have basics of Adobe XD, so mock-ups of applications and mock-ups of different prototypes for iOS and Android and all sorts of different platforms. We have Illustrator, we have how to use Keynote, so we had a few other ones that are to do with design, but they're more generic, so more for like if you want to design a slideshow or you want to design something like that. So we wanted to incorporate that into the workshops as well. So we have Keynote, we have iMovie for videographers out there. We show you how to create really good posters and print media. Wix websites as well, that's big request has been to teach how to create a really good Wix website. Wix is a great platform, by the way, not sponsored. I wish. How to use Lightroom, so how to edit photos with Lightroom. And last but not least, we've done a bit of a weird one. So this one's a bit different to all the others, and it's more just how to generate ideas. So all the workshops beforehand were to do with specific tools. So Adobe, Apple, and different tools to actually create something. With this workshop, we wanted to kind of reverse it and be like, what would you do before that? So how do you come up with an idea? How do you start and sort of get the inspiration to actually design something? So that is what that workshop is going to be about, and we cannot wait to run them. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Anyway, so on to the tea of today. What is the tea of today? We are talking about screen sizes. So are screen sizes making a designer's job harder? Now, what's the state of screen sizes today? We have the Samsung S10 with the hole punch display. We have the iPhone XS Max and the iPhone X, which is what I'm filming with. I'm filming with an iPhone XS Max. They have the notch. We have other phones that all have the notch now after the iPhone X came out. Notches were everywhere. And curved screens. Now we have foldable screens. So let's backtrack before that happened to 2007. So 2007 was when the first iPhone came out.
An iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator. An iPod, a phone. Are you getting it? These are not three separate devices. This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone. Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone.
And the screen size then was 3.5 inches. Now, in comparison with today's phones, that is ridiculously small. I remember my little sister has an iPhone 5 or an iPhone SE, but it's got the iPhone 5 design. I hold it and it's like a baby phone compared to my phone. It's like, all phones have become so much bigger, and all of the screen now is real estate for the display. So going back to the iPhone original, the iPhone 2G, the screen is tiny. But back then it was a huge leap, just this big giant screen is how it was described by Steve Jobs at the time, just a big giant screen. So applications, when in 2008, when they opened the SDK and people started to develop for the iPhone, every iPhone had the same screen size, and it was really the only smartphone on the market really at the time. They kind of reinvented what it was to be a smartphone. So all the screens were the same. So a developer could create one app and it'd work on all iPhones. Now, in Android's case, they came at around about the same time, 2009, and they had a range of different screen sizes, but they were all still the same ratio. They were still a square. And that made it easy for developers. Not as easy as Apple, but still easier for developers. And then we had the same screen size in 2010. We had the same screen size in 2011 with the iPhone 4S was the last 3.5-inch phone. And it all changed with the iPhone 5. Now, what Apple did with that is that they added an extra 0.5 inches on the top of the screen and on the bottom. So it made it a 4-inch screen. Now, that was a game changer. It was the first time Apple had increased the display size. And it was the first time developers had to actually adjust their app to reach a new screen size. Now, I'm not a developer, but I made a mock app myself and then I ported it to an iPhone 5 and it literally took seconds. I just changed a few bits in the code and it worked seamlessly. So Apple really made the transition from 3.5 to 4-inch screens really, really easy. Now, jumping ahead, we had the iPhone 5S and then 5C. Still the same 4-inch screen. No difference there. Now, in the 2013, I believe, Apple announced the iPhone 6. No, it's 2014. 2014, Apple released the iPhone 6. This was when the game changing began because they had increased the screen size to, I think it was about 4.8 inches, if I remember. Yeah, 4.8 or 4.7 inches screen. Major difference from the iPhone 5s. But then they also released another phone alongside it, which was bigger at 5.5 inches, which was just insane. I had to get my hands on it. I always wanted the bigger screen and always loved the bigger screen. So bigger, in my eyes, is definitely better. So they released that and it had to teach developers to redesign their apps again. They had to sort of rescale these apps because with the iPhone 5, if your app wasn't scaled, you'd have two black bars on the top and the bottom. And then on the black iPhone, it looked pretty seamless. On the white iPhone, it looked a bit weird, but the app still worked. It wouldn't stop your app from working. On the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, the screen size was the same ratio, so there would be no black bars, but it would look scaled. It would look like it's been blown up, and it wouldn't look as nice if you changed a few things in the code. And again, I did the same. I had a mock app and I changed it. It was a little bit longer, but again, it took an afternoon. It wasn't that long. So for a big company, it would take them seconds. For a little amateur like me, it was pretty simple and pretty straightforward. So again, was it making a designer's job harder? Not really. In my eyes, screen sizes didn't start making my job harder until 2017. Yeah, 2017, when the iPhone 10 came out. Now, this is when it became a game changer because the button was gone, the home button was no more. The screen was all of the screen. It was all of the front side of the phone, and it even curved. So, you have the curves of the edges on the top and the bottom, and then at the top, obviously, you had the little notch in the middle, which even complicated things further. So designers then had to really be careful with how you use the real estate because you have those two little bits in the corner that can't really be used for much, but Apple kind of populate them with the time and the utilities, so they kind of do your job for you. But on the bottom of the screen, you then had to contend with these curves, and this had been the first time it'd been seen in an iPhone. So it's a really strange screen size to go from just a normal square to these really obscure curved shaped glass. And, apps ported on there quite easily. So a lot of apps were readily available on the iPhone 10 when it came out. However, there were a lot of apps that weren't, and all that would do is kind of like the iPhone 5, it would just port it in the middle and you have the black bars. Did it look the prettiest? Not really. Apple kind of invested in all this new screen technology, and for it not to be used would be kind of bad. I admit I haven't actually ported an app myself. I've designed apps for the iPhone 10, but I've not actually ported an app on there. So I don't know how complicated it is to change your app from an iPhone 6 to an iPhone 10. But to design, at first it took some getting used to because it was a completely new shape to work with. But in general, it started to get easier, and now it's kind of like the norm, really. And then Samsung came along and they changed it even more with their S10. Now, if you haven't seen the S10, it's the first phone, apparently all vendors are rumored to be doing this now, but it's the first phone to become public that uses the hole punch method. What does this mean? Well, hole punch. And when the iPhone 10 came out, the notch was very controversial, and some people loved it, some people hated it. Personally, I don't have no problem. I think it's fine, I love it. But the way around a notch, Samsung came along and thought, we'll create a hole punch. So what this basically means is that the actual camera is embedded in the screen. So the camera is, the screen wraps around the camera. So the camera is visible, it's still there, you can see it, I've got a picture somewhere. But it's embossed in the screen, so the screen cuts around the camera. Now, do I think this is good? It's innovative, it's pushing the boundaries in terms of technology, it's pushing the boundaries in terms of what there is in terms of alternatives to the notch, because to be honest, when Apple came out with the notch, every company had a notch, and it also kind of become a trend. So it was nice to see somebody doing something different, but do I think it's logical? Not really. I think, you go to all this effort to kind of increase your screen size, and then you slap bang a camera in the middle of it, well, at the top corner. You lose a lot of real estate, surprisingly. Like, you can't use that space around the camera, it's too thin. So you're gonna get the colors of the screen, and you're gonna get the colors of whatever you're watching, so like films or pictures, you kind of, it sets the scene. But in terms of usability, that bit of screen is useless. Like, you can't use it at all. Also, apparently because they also have a fingerprint sensor embedded in the screen, apparently that's really slow in comparison to Touch ID and Samsung's previous fingerprint sensors. I've not used the S10, so I'm not going to have an outright review on it. But yeah, do I like the hole punch method? Not really. I'm not really a big advocate for it. More in terms of the fact that it loses needless space, uses needless space. And also, where Samsung put it, it makes selfies really weird apparently, so bear that in mind. So the overall questions are screen sizes making a designer's job harder. I think to some degree it is. It's, we're in a fast-paced environment. The mobile market is stagnant at the moment. So all the companies are pushing out all the stops. So Samsung have a foldable phone. They're showing their foldable technology to Apple, to Google, to all these other companies. And then you have the hole punch display, you have the notches, you have the iPhone 10, XS Max, S10e, S10X, tons of different screen sizes. Completely different contrast to 2007 when you just had 3.5 inches. That's all you had. So it is making it harder, but I think when it kind of dies down and the phones start using, so for example the iPhone 10, now it's in its second and now third year of iteration, it kind of just becomes normal. So it's a bit of a shock at first, but also thanks to leaks. Leaks I don't really advocate either. I like a surprise, but leaks help you to kind of determine what's going to happen in the future. So the iPhone 10 was rumored long before it came out. The S10 with its hole punch display, they literally had an almost perfect rendering a month before it came out. So people knew what was going to happen. The foldable phone, I did not know it was going to come then. I don't know if I'm just out the loop, but the whole punch everybody knew was coming, and apparently Apple is going to adopt it as well. So you always, thanks to the internet, you always have a sense of what's going to come, so you prepare yourself. So in a way it makes your life easier, but yeah, working around these obscure designs, it is quite difficult. So is it making a designer's life difficult? In a one-word answer, yes. But over time, it gradually becomes easier because companies kind of stay with their design, and then it makes it easier for a designer. So that's today's editorial. So our next one is on its way, and it will all be about vibrant colors and how that's being used in print media and digital media and websites and stuff like that. I hope you enjoyed today's editorial. Again, I cannot believe we're almost at the end of them. Now, I keep saying this in every video, or in the last video and this video, we are coming back. We are currently working through ideas for our next editorials. So please comment down below if we have not covered a topic that you think we should. You know, there's tons of different topics out there, trends that are coming. You know, drop them in the comments below. We are also going to be filming a lot of new how-tos that we're going to be posting in the space between filming the new series of editorials. We do have a estimated release date. We're not going to release that yet. They're going to wait till we film the last editorial and we publish that to you, but they are coming, new editorials are coming, and we cannot wait to film them because we kind of want to change them up next time, because, you know, this is the first time we've done videos like this before. So now we know what people want and what people are liking from our videos. We are going to go into the second series with a huge big bang. So stay tuned. We're going to be posting it all on our social media and our platforms and our website. So stay tuned and we will be back. So I am now going to get some herbal tea and some honey and lemon to sort through. I cannot believe my voice survived, to be honest. It's a struggle. So without further ado, I'm going to go and get my lemon and honey and lemon tea and bid farewell. So have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed the editorial. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.